Perfect.
Hello.
Hello all. And right now I can see also. My name is Dragoș Ionescu. I'm Android developer at IBM, and today we'll have a short introduction into the Android world, Android development world, together with my colleague Mihaela. You'll see soon the agenda for this call. Please, Mihaela, introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Mihaela. I'm an Android developer for about 6 years, and first of all, I wanted to thank you for joining this Android webinar session. And I will share my screen and show you what are we going to do. So the agenda for today is like that. So we're going to have a little quiz to see some interesting facts about Android, and then we will have a short introduction about the IDE, so the place where you write your code. We're going to have the live coding session, which will be the most interesting part, I can say, and a Q&A session for all your questions. So, I say we should switch to the quiz room, and please, if you have your phones, grab your phones and enter this link, and this is the game pin, or I can just paste in the chat directly the link. Let me see where I have it. Sorry for the trouble. I can't find the chat in here. Oh yeah, I can't find the chat. So if you enter this link and paste the pin, you should start seeing the game and joining the room.
Also, I'm not able to refresh the chat. I'm not sure. Where's the problem? Can't paste any message on the chat.
Okay, so somebody joined. That makes me happy. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Let's wait. I think we have around 3 minutes.
3 minutes, yeah.
Before starting.
And we are going to have this elevator music with us.
Raise the volume a little bit. Can hear something.
Okay.
Not yet. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, thank you. Are you having any trouble with joining? Just come off mute and say should.
Yeah, if you have any trouble, we can wait 2 more minutes and start.
Yes. Okay, so we are 7 now. Maybe we can start.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so thanks for the one that joined. We will start it. Don't be afraid of the question. If you don't know the answer, that's fine, because you can just learn new things through this quiz. So what tasty treat is the nickname for the version of Android 4.4? As you all may know, all the Android versions have names based on sweet treats. So yes, you're right. Okay, next. We have someone in the lead. Next question. Which tech giant developed the Android operating system? I have no doubt that you will know this one. Great. So Google it is. Next one. What is the name of the virtual assistant found in Android devices, similar to Siri on iPhones?
Alexa. Hey Siri, call up to me.
Okay, it's Google Assistant. Bixby is something that it's just for specifically for Samsung. So the general one is the Google Assistant. Okay, so Gabriela is on second place. Nice. True or false? Android was initially developed as a camera operating system. What do you guys think? So it's false. It was a tricky question. So the Android was developed as an operating system, not specifically not for camera, just for the whole phone. Next one. Which company produced the first commercially available Android smartphone? Okay, so HTC was the first one. I remember my first smartphone was from this company many years ago. Next one is a question about dark mode and when it first appeared. Good, you are right. Android Oreo was the first one that made our life easier and for our eyes, I can say. Next one. Which company released the first touchscreen phone in 1994? Let's see. So this one is from IBM. It was called Simon, the phone. Okay, Andre is on fire, I can say. Next question. What term describes developing Android apps to work on various devices with different screen sizes and resolutions? This might be a bit difficult, but give it a try. Okay, so this one is called adaptive layout. Okay, Madalina is on the top 3. Good. What do you call the process of modifying Android's operating system beyond its original software manufacturer? Okay, so the term is called routing. And you can access the original manufacturer and customize it, so it feels a bit like hacking. And true or false question, Android is only available on smartphones. What do you guys think? Okay, you are correct. You can find Android on tablets, watches, even in car. So you are right. And the Android operating system is open source and free to use. It is? Yes, yes, it is. Good. All in favor for true. And we have a new high score for Madalina, so good, congrats. And the last one, the Google Play Store is the only official marketplace for Android apps. So this one is false. We also have stores from Huawei, for example, so you can download Android apps from multiple stores. And we have the podium. Dan on 3, congratulations. For Andre, it's on second place, and in the first place is Madalina. So congrats to all of the participants. I hope you enjoyed this little quiz. And then I will move on with our presentation. A brief introduction to Android Studio. So we have two useful websites here, and you can find this one for installing Android Studio. You have the instructions and the requirements for Windows, as well for macOS laptops. So here it's a step-by-step tutorial to install it. Then we can move on to this page where you can download it. So developer.android.com, it's a wholly website. So here you can find everything you need to know about Android. The documentation is on point, so it's clear and solves the problems. I recommend using it. So here you can find the latest version that it's Ladybug. And this is some cute fact that the systems are called after desserts, but Android Studio versions are called after animals. So they have a little cute system there. You can click here, and after accepting this terms and conditions, you can download it on your device. Somehow it's recognized that I'm on Mac, so it says to choose between an Apple chip and an Intel one. But if you are on Windows, you will download the one for 32 or 64 bytes. If you scroll down on this page, you can see the latest features. So Android Studio has also implemented the generative AI. So the Gemini, it's here to help us in the Android Studio. I see that that here we have some new feature to have the Android in a web browser. I personally didn't know about this, so it would be fun to try it. Here on the core features, you can see tutorials about the design. So on Android, you can design your screens with the classic method with XML files, but now we have some new technology called Jetpack Compose. And here are some tutorials for this one, but I would suggest for your competition to use XML. So Dragoș will present more of it in the live demo. Lots of tutorials here. So this will be very, very good with build your first app, install, and so on. I can show you the Android IDE. IDE, it's integrated development environment. So it's the place where you will write your code and you will have the application. I have already created a project here for the sake of time, but I will show you how I did it. So when you first open the Android Studio, you will see this little window and you will access new project. Here you can have some templates. You can start your project. So this one with empty activity will have a screen already in place with a text. It's a great base for starting projects, or some more complicated views in here, or none at all, like this one. You can create projects for phones and tablets, watches, televisions, and cars. For the example, I've selected an empty activity, and this is the project that was built after this one. Here are the files that were generated. So this is the main activity. By default, it will be generated using the Jetpack Compose design system. But you can use that in your project, but I suggest to stick to XML files. And this is the folder for for Kotlin files. Oh, okay. So I forgot to mention that newly built projects starts already with Kotlin. So Java is not used anymore, not that much. Of course, there are projects that started with Java once, and now they are gradually moving to Kotlin. And a cool thing is that you can have in a project both Java and Kotlin files. And in the resource folder, you have the drawable, which are the pictures, some colors, strings. Here is the name of the app. And a cool thing is that you can test your projects on emulators. Emulators are some phones that you have on your laptop. So here you can create. I have already created some various phones, and I have this one already open. So here it is. It works pretty much like a phone, except you can call or open camera. But okay, you can open camera, but you will not see anything just like that. So you can try it. You can send text and you can install apps. So the app that was generated by using that basic activity is this one, and I'm going to open it, and it has only a text saying hello Android. As you can see, hello here, and the name was given here, Android. Like I said, you can also create multiple types of phones, and this is a very, very useful tool in the Android Studio, because there are a lot of types of phones using Android, and you can generate one and see how the application will look for various phones, because some are smaller, some are larger, having different resolution, and that is very useful. And I think that's it from my side. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them.
Yes, Gabriela?
All right. Can you add an Apple phone?
No. You cannot add an Apple phone through Android Studio. So Android, it's having just Android phones, and if you want to develop iOS application for iPhone, you will need to have another IDE, so another program like Android Studio. It's called Xcode, and there you can develop applications for iPhones. There's another program, there's another language, but it's pretty much the same, but it's you need to have other coding knowledge for applications for iPhones. Yeah.
So isn't there an actual toolkit that you can use, that you just write a code and can be used on Android and iPhone?
For sure. There are multiple tools. I think Flutter is the one that you can build with it.
React Native.
Exactly, and at the runtime you can build 2 different apps. The code is generated, one for the iOS platform and one for the Android one. Using Android Studio, you can build only native Android apps.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I saw when I was downloading Flutter, it said that I need to install either Android Studio or Xcode. So I don't.
Personally, I don't know.
I can help a bit on this area. I personally worked with React Native, which is doing pretty much the same thing as Flutter. But for this, I needed to have Android Studio as well as Xcode. You need to have both of them because Flutter or React Native will create a project that then needs to be opened by also Android and Xcode. And one disadvantage for this is that you cannot build iOS applications, so applications for iPhones, you cannot build them on a Windows laptop. You only need a Mac one.
Okay, but can you make a little resume on how do you add a phone here?
Yes. So here on the right, you have this device manager window. You have here the plus add a new device, create virtual device. And here you have all types of devices, phone, tablets, watches, TVs. So for phone, you are selecting mostly Pixels because the Pixel is a phone made by Google. So you have newest version and oldest. They can have Play Store on it or not. The size, resolution, and so on. So I'm using, and this one is the fold one, which is interesting. So let's say we are going to Pixel Fold. We are going next. Here we are selecting the operating system. I'm going to choose Android 14. So I'm going to set up the orientation. I will choose portrait and finish. And here it is, the newly created emulator. And now I'm going to start it. Okay, so I have both of them up and running. So this one is Pixel Fold. It's pretty big. It will look like a tablet. And I now realize that I've put it on vertical, but it's more like a tablet, so it should have been on horizontal. So yeah, this is a newly created emulator. And we can run this basic application that we have on it, and we can see how it looks like on the Pixel Fold. I don't think it would look great by default without alteration, but let's see. Yeah, pretty much the same. Hello, Android. So both of these are looking similar. And that's how you are creating a new emulator here in the device manager. I hope it's clear.
Yeah, all right, thanks. But I want to ask a new question. So yesterday I was playing with Android Studio and I wrote some code and then I realized I couldn't run it and I don't understand why is that. Can you explain? Do you know why?
It could be a number of reasons. First of all, you need to know the error. If you have an error displayed, so as a good practice, if you have errors, you can search them on Google how to, or I have this error, and it's a big chance that someone had the same problem and it's fixed. So on the top of my head, I think it maybe had something to do with Gradle files. But if I don't know the problem exactly, it's pretty difficult to say it like that. It could be a number of causes.
For sure, Mihaela, we can check at the end with Gabriela for few minutes to share the screen and check why it's not running?
Of course, yes.
Well, I kind of have it on another laptop. I will enter this meet in that laptop. All right. Yeah, sure. That's okay.
Okay, perfect then. Yeah, I will continue from here, Mihaela.
Sure.
Could you stop your screen and I will share immediately my screen. Because already Mihaela shared with you a method to display virtual phones on the IDE. I will show you how to enable your real devices and run the application on a real device. Before starting, for doing that, you need, I hope that you see my camera. You need a cable with USB Type-C or the charging port and connect to the laptop. Then you need to go to the settings, go to the, as you can see now, I have already enabled the developer options, but you go to the about phone settings, I think on the software information, and we need the bill number, and you need to press multiple times on the bill number. But as you can see, I already turn on the developer mode. And after that, after you connect the phone with the laptop, you can see that I have here a real device as a Samsung, and I can run the app using a real device. So there are two methods. I think there are three methods actually. We have the third version with a device with using Wi-Fi, but for me doesn't work so well. So I'm using the method with a cable. Okay. Okay, that's the actual implementation of what we'll implement today. For sure, we'll start from zero, but I already implemented in order to see that everything works fine. I already have a design prepared for you because last year we presented, we tried to implement the same screen, but was a little bit different, and we requested, I asked Andrei from my project team to, Andrei is a designer, to re-implement the design. Last year we had this one, which is, a little bit different. Now this one is actual, based on the requirements, let's say. We have a splash of color, the text alignment is different, and also we remove the first part. I really want to add that this one was developed by Alex, which is a developer, and this one was developed by Andrei, which is a designer. This is the design. We use different tools also in our day-to-day work. We use Figma as we usually, but there are different ways to implement a design. As you can see, we have different options to select and see the distance between elements. I'm trying to, here. We can check where the text is displayed, the margins, the paddings, and a lot of things that are really necessary when it comes to implement an Android application. Because you'll see at the end, we can run the app on multiple devices and should looks the same like on the one that was implemented. So I saw that Mihaela had a question related responsive or adaptive layouts, and that's the important aspects when developing Android application. Okay. Let's start with the beginning. So we have a design. We suggest you to create before starting your application a design. Will be more easy to implement the app. For sure, you can start and adjust the design during the development phase, but in a real project, we already have a design prepared for us by a designer, we can start by analyzing the design and check what we have on this screen. Could you help me? Do you want to try to see how we'll start the implementation? Because I'm trying to share with you the good practices to know how to start, because is important. Let's assume that we started a project and after that, after a few months, we need to add another button, another text, and we don't want to change the entire design only for adding a button. For sure, also on your project, you need to update the design. And if we'll start to update the design, we don't want to, let's say, move the image, or if I'll add a button, the entire design will be broken. So, could you help me? Do you want to help me? For sure, we have a top, which is, yeah, we have an image with a background color. We have a middle section, let's say, and yeah, the last section with the game. Anyone wants to? How to start the implementation? How do you think we will start the implementation? I already identified 3 areas. So we had the first one, the second one, and the third one. So we'll do the same also in Android Studio. We'll start to implement, first of all, 3 containers. Let's assume that the screen is splitted on 3 containers. The first one with the top image. The second one is the second container with the text and some useful tips and tricks for your project. And the third one is a part with a small game, let's say, where we'll insert a code here. We'll decide which will be the word that we'll insert in order to discover the secret by pressing the submit secret. So we'll have 3 containers. Let's start to implement this screen. As I said, I already have a screen implemented here, but we'll start from 0. So Mihaela already presented the Android Studio, but I really want to share with you some tips and tricks and useful information in order to start to have a good start from 0. So Mihaela shared the main activity, which, let's say, is the code part for building UI, for building an Android application. So without the code part, the application will be only an image. I can share with you that if I'll press on a button, it's will not work because it's an image. And for animating the image, we need the code. Okay, that's the code part. And on the second part, we have the UI elements. We have the images. As you can see, I already imported to have already in the project all the images. We have the launcher, background and foreground that is displayed. Okay, I will share with you. In order, if you want to change the, let's say, the app image, you can change the launcher. And I think I already have an application here with the launcher. Here is the launcher, okay? Okay, here. And you can change the image and the launcher image will be changed. Okay, here is the main activity. So is the UI part of our application, a part of application. We can have multiple activities or fragments. And the third part, the third section or the third part, it's about colors, dimensions, strings, and themes. Okay, before starting, let's start by sharing why it's important to have all these files here. So let's assume that we'll have an application for 3 countries. Okay, we'll have Romania, we'll have Germany, and I don't know, Spanish. Okay. if we'll start to implement this application for 3 countries, we'll not have the same text. We'll have different text we have actually 3 languages for each country. So we need to define 3 string files. So will not be able to start. We'll see a little bit later how we'll use all these strings, but we'll not be able to create 3 layouts only for using or to use for each language. We'll create 1 layout and we'll use 3 different three different string files in order to be the app to be translate the app. Okay, the dimension file. Let's assume that we'll use multiple time in the project the same dimension. So we'll not hard code it. It's not recommended to hard code the values on your project, either in code or in the XML files. And for doing that, we can create common dimension files, and from here we'll pick the right dimension for our layout. And the colors, you know, is the same thing. We can store here all the colors, and if we want to change our app UI, we can change from here. We have a design, and if we want all the blue colors to be changed to green, we'll try this later. We'll see that if I will change the code color from here, I'm able to change the color from all the places where the color is used. Okay, so having the design, we decided that we have 3 parts. The first part with the first container, we have the second part with the second container, and the third part with the third container. Okay, we'll start to implement the same thing on the, let's close all these files, and I'll open the empty one. Let's run to see that we run an empty screen. As you can see, it's pretty different a little bit, because right now on the first container, the blue color, it's starting from the top. So we need to do the same thing with our app. For doing that, on the code part, there is a method already prepared for us called enable age-to-age method. And this method at the runtime will provide or will set up the margin to the top of the screen. Let's see. Okay, as you can see now, we have the white color until, starting from the top. Okay, move back to the main activity. And as I said, this is the XML file. My colleague Mihaela said that there are 2 options actually for implementing UI elements. Is the one with XML, which is the old one, and the new one with JPEG Compose, the one that Mihaela already presented. The JPEG Compose is a little bit harder than the XML one, because you need to know more how to say that, framework, let's say, or structures in Android, to not use complex words to explain that. So for trying the Android and trying to implement your first application, I suggest you to use the XML one. Also, you'll find a lot of useful documentation or tutorials on the internet. You'll see that I will show you how I will proceed if I will not be able to implement something, because you know we are not memorize all this stuff. We are searching on the internet. We are asking AI sometimes to help us, not with the implementation, but with some useful information and solve different small problems. Okay, this is the UI part. So here at the end we'll see the entire design. We have 3 containers. This one is the big container, is the parent, let's say, and we'll have more children in the container. In our design, we have actually 3 children. So we'll multiply for 3 times this constraint layout. In the XML file, we have different type of layouts. There are multiple. We have constraint layouts, we have relative layouts, we have frame layouts, linear layouts, but on our example, and because it's a simple one to be used and also to be explained, we'll use the constraint layout. But you can try also linear, relative, frame layout. There are a lot of different layouts. Okay, so this is the first container, and as you can see, we need to set the width and the height for our layout. So for the width, we'll set it later. Let's create, first of all, as I said, 3 containers. The second container, okay, and the third container. Okay, so we have here 3 containers, 3 children. Okay, each a container for each section. Great. Then let's try to see how we'll center and be sure that the design is responsive. So if I run the app, and we'll see here we have the option to change the device resolution in order to see that the design is reactive. So will be adapted to the used phone. Okay, so on the first container, width will be to occupy the entire parent, okay? And for the height, we'll use, first of all, 0 dp. So we'll not have any container at the beginning. I will copy this part and replace on all places. Great. Now we see that we have an error here, and the error says that this view is not constrained vertical. What does it mean? We need to provide a margin that will be our first layout will be linked. So if we provide that the constraint top to top of parent, so now our layout exactly the first container is linked to the top of the screen. If I say that the bottom to be the bottom of parent, then
Dragoș, you are on mute. I don't know how.
Perfect. Now it's fine?
Yes.
I think I pressed something on the... I really don't know how it was. Okay. Okay, then we have the option to link it. But since we have the match parent will occupy the entire parent, so starting from the left to the right, we don't need to provide any constraint for the beginning and or the end of our container. And let's provide a background. Because I already, as you can see, I will switch back to my design. We already have a code, color code, sorry, here for our container. And moving back to Android Studio, at the colors level, I can change the color and paste it here. We can define multiple colors. I call it but blue 1, but we'll change blue 2025, let's say. And for the background, the naming is intuitive. We'll use the blue 2025. So we are referring from the color, as you can see, the path is the color file with, and from that path we pick the blue 2024 color. But as you can see, since we have the height set as 0 dp, so is 0, we need to set a % for our dimension. and I will say that will be enough 25%. Sorry, 0.25. And based on our design, we meet the requirements. We are setting the first part of the container. We'll do the same thing with the second container because we have a different color. As you can see on our how it's called, on our text, we have tips, and Andrei said that don't hesitate to include a splash of color to make the design unique. So you need to pay more attention to details. If I will zoom the layout, you'll see that it's not actually a white, it's a blue, but yeah, is with different color code. And for doing that, we'll do the same. We'll copy the color, and moving back to the app, on the blue 2, we'll say blue 2025 2, that doesn't matter the name, but we need to refer it to the app. We'll paste the color. Is not the same. I think I copied the same color. We need to pick this one. Okay, perfect. This one. Okay, and on the second container, we'll do the same thing. We'll have the background. Great, is blue 2025.2, and we'll set that. Now we need to do the same thing. For the first container, we constrain it to the parent, so we'll be on the top of our parent. As you can see, we have some mark that said that we are not constrained correctly, or we are not setting correctly the constraint. Here, the mark is blue, but here is white. That means we are not have any constraint or on the bottom, left and right. So we need to do the same thing, but for doing that, we need somehow to identify the right container. For doing that, we need to define a unique identifier for each container. It will be an ID, let's say, and this ID is unique. For doing that, we have the property called ID, and we need to mention a name of, to add a name for our container. Let's say that is container 1. For sure, if you are implementing something specific, that's an example, but I recommend you, and is a good practice in the development, to provide how to say that, to provide the right name for the container for each structure, for each method. It's important because we are not developing application for computers. We are developing application for humans, and we, at the end, we need to understand what exactly was developed. You know. Okay, so we have a unique identifier for our container. And on the second container, we'll do the same thing. We'll add an ID second, container 2. Great. We have the second container with a unique identifier. So first is this one, second, and let's add also for the third container. Container 3, perfect. Now, to be sure that this container will start immediately after the first container, we need to specify the constraint. So we'll use the same property, constraint, top. So our top container will be to the bottom of the first container. So adding top to the bottom. And as you can see, now we have here the second container. The top of this container, it's actually at the bottom, constrained to the bottom of first container. And similarly, the third container will be constrained to top to the bottom of container 2. Now we have both all containers actually constrained to the top of to the top. Okay, let's move further to the 8%. Because we choose 25% for this one, we'll choose, let's say, 30 for the second container. Actually, it's a 35 to meet the requirements design. It's a little bit bigger than the first one. And now we have a structure, let's say. It's not a design, it's not a new UI, but it is the structure of our design. And yeah, the last container will be 35 plus 20. Okay, so we have the 0 dp and I think 40. And as you can see, from 1 we have 0.25% with plus 30 35% plus 40 we have 100, and yeah, that's 1 in persons. And yeah, the entire screen. Okay, so now we have the first structure of our design. We have the top container, the second, the middle container, at the end container. Okay, let's run the app to see how it looks like. Sorry, I need to insert the password. Before we had the first version. Now let's run and see how it looks like after adding the containers. We have an error here. Why? Sorry, because we changed, as I said, if you change something on the colors mapping, because we are referring also on the second layout that was implemented by me, we need also to provide the right colors here, because we change it in a place, we need to change in all the places. And that means if I'll use the same color for the entire app, if I will change that color on a specific place, will be changed in the entire app. So that will be, let's run again, sorry. And let's see. Okay, as you can see, now we have something similar with our design. We have the first part, the second part, and the third part already implemented. If I remove the first added line of code, I'll comment it and run again, you'll see that our app will be displayed until, I think, starting from here. Exactly. Will not a full display, age to age display. We have a partial, and all the top elements like the battery and so on are with different color. Let's run again with the first option. Okay, now as you can see, also the top elements are in the same color with our first section. Great. Any question? Or do you want to keep it for the Q&A session? Okay. Let's continue. Now we split our screen in 3 sections. We have first, second, third. Now we need to implement for each section a children. We have the parent. So our big parent is the first constraint layout. And as you can see, we have a different display. So that means that here is a child, because we end it with this mark. But if I will end on that using this, how to say, ending mark for the XML tag, you'll see that we can add multiple children here. So we have the big parent with 3 children, and now we'll transform each container in a parent, and we'll add more children here. Now I'm not able to add inside the first container or the second or the third any children. So the first child of for the first container will be this image. So For doing that, we need to transform the first child into a parent. Okay, and now we can add a new UI elements, let's say. And for doing that, in the Android, we have a specific layout called image. But I suggest you to use all the layouts using material. So as you can see, we have com.google.android.material.image view. So I suggest you to use to import from the material because it's the latest library, or either from material 3 is the latest one actually. Okay, so we have an image now. Now we need similar to constraint to the parents. It's all about constraining the layout. If you're not constrain or not adding the right constraint to the parent, you'll see that if you run the app on different device, you'll see that the images are not displaying in the right position. Either it's displaying at the beginning or at the end, or outside the layout, and a lot of bugs could appear. So it's important to constrain all the layouts, all the layouts. Now we have an image because we discovered that on the first section we have an image, and for doing that we need to define the same. We need to add an ID because we need to identify. That we'll see later when we link the code with the UI. You'll see that we need these IDs because each ID is like a link between UI and the code. We need to refer an ID in order to access the right layout or image or button, or we'll see later. So we'll call it simple image. We need to provide some dimension, and we'll say, okay, we'll start with the first constraint. In order to center the image on this in the middle of the first section, because as you can see is on the middle, we will say next. Start will be the start of parent, and will be the end of parent. So we'll start our image will start. First of all, before adding the constraint, I really want to add the source. So the source is our source image. In our case, is the IBM Cloud Education, and I will try to refer it from source. I think exactly this one will be the IBM Cloud Education, and that was my intention to see that is not constraint is on the left top in the first question. If I will add start to start of parent, then you'll see that the first circle now is blue. Now that means our image is linked to the left of our parent, so to the start of our parent, which is the container one. Now, if I will say that and will be the end of parent, you'll see that now is linked also to the end of parent, and that means we'll know that is in the middle of our parent. To do the same thing, to put the image in the middle of our section, we need to say top will be the top of parent and the bottom will be the bottom of parent. And now, as you can see, we have 4 links, and the image is centered and is in the middle of our first section. That's the first part with the first section. Simple. Now let's move to the second container. Okay. Any question for our image? For sure, there are multiple ways to implement image in XML. Image, we have image button. There are multiple views. Actually, an image is a view, and all the views are constrained to a container or in a layout. We have image button, image switcher, image view, different import images from the app compat, but I recommend you to use material for implementing your design. Any question?
How did you choose that image?
Was from the design, so I can export it from here. So was implemented and designed by Andrei. And for importing in the project, either you copy and paste at the drawable level, file level, or you can use an import vector asset, which is recommended because will be imported here. You can provide a name, but yeah, in our case, I imported a PNG because we have some errors, as you can see, with the vector image vector. And for selecting from the drawable is the same thing that we use for colors. For referring, we need to provide the source, and referring as from the path of drawable, we have the path drawable. This is the file. We are referring that that image. It's okay for you, or?
Yeah, I understood.
Exactly. It's all about referring the right element from the resource file. And as I said, I strongly recommend you to not hard code values on XML files. And the reason, yeah, is because you can easily change from here. You can change also the color. Let's try also right now to choose a different color for let's try a blue here. Okay, and if I'll go to my activity, you'll see that the color was changed. Otherwise, let's assume that I have multiple screens, not only one. And I really want to change the first section for each screen. I will use the same reference to the same color. And if I will choose change here, will be yeah, changing the entire app. Let's move back to first color. Which one? As you can see, there are multiple colors. I will copy and paste again the color from here. Sorry. Okay. Now I hope that is fine. Okay, we are back. Any questions?
About the design or the app? Or...
As you want.
Okay. How do you make new windows? You know when you're on a site and you press a button and you enter on another site? How do you do on app this?
If you want, at the end, we'll try to open another screen by pressing on the submit button, if you want. We'll take more time to do right now. I really want to finish, first of all, this screen, but I will show you how to implement that if you want. At the end, is fine for you?
Well, I don't think so, because I need to go at 6 o'clock. No.
Okay, let's try then. Well, I will show you the documentation. Maybe will help you to understand. It's also, I really want to show you that how to open a new screen in an activity, and you'll see that is a line of code. Open a new screen. It's called about, yeah, you need to create an intent That's a already object. I really don't know if you know about oriented
I know about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this is an object. You need to create this type of objects. You already an object that we already have in the Android. As you can see, I can intent. We have okay and import, but it's not Java. It's Kotlin. We'll have the intent. And here we need to provide the context. The context will be our activity, and we need to provide the context of our activity, get application context. And the second will be the activity that we want to start, main activity dot class dot Java. Okay. And to start the activity, we need to provide start activity intent. I'm not sure if it will work, but I'm trying right now. Somehow I will open again the same activity each time. Will be a loop, let's say, but I'm not sure if will happen or will work. Wait a second to unlock the phone and see what's happening. Okay. Yeah, since that doesn't want to, but that's the way for starting a new screen. You need to provide the next class that you want to be open. And as you can see, each class, in our case, main activity, we have a reference to our design. So each class will have a specific layout. I can let me try to duplicate the to answer on your question, because it's important to paste and yeah to demo that. Main activity 2. Okay, I'll refer the main activity 2 with the already implemented design. I will delete that part, and okay, that's fine. And on the first activity, we'll try to open, but we don't have any button to launch the app. But if you'll add these 2 lines of codes on an event, you'll see that, yeah, let's see first. The app starts. That doesn't want is blocked somehow. Oh, sorry, that's my project. It seems that yeah, we need to have an event, so like a click or an action to the screen in order to open a new screen. But at the end, we will try to to add this this event to the button, the last button from our design with the submit secret. And you will see that we will manage to open another screen. It's fine for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. Let's continue with our design. So back to the design, we already implemented the first part. We have almost 50 minutes to finish. Let's try it. Otherwise, I will copy from the first implemented design in order to finish the implementation and also to launch the new activity. Okay. On the second part, in the second container, we have multiple text. Let's try with the first one. I already imported in the project the text. To not spend time on importing. Actually, we need to select the text from here, copy, and paste the text using a good name in order to identify that is the title. We can say that the title for section 2, let's assume that in the future we'll need to add also a title on the second one, on the first section. And yeah, to identify, we'll say that is the title section 2. For sure, we need to change it also here. Title section 2. Okay. For doing that, we'll do the same thing. We'll transform the child in a parent, and we'll add the text view. I will try to use the same thing, a material text view. As I said, I recommend you to use from the material. We'll have the same problems called constraints. We need to provide that the text will be to the entire parent. So we'll say that match parent is enough. We'll say that wrap content to have the height, and for the text, it's actually it's a property called text. We can set the text, and as you can see, I already have a suggestion to use the title second 2. But I will try first of all to add a basic title. And as you can see, now we have a warning here. Car code is string title should use string resources. So we have a warning from the IDE. So they recommended, as I recommended before, to use from the string resources all the text. Title section. Okay, and as you can see, referring the text, I'm able to fetch the text from here and apply on my screen. For sure, we don't have any, we still have a warnings, and we need to add the start to be the start of parent. For sure, since we add the match parent, we don't need the start and the end constraint. We need only the top ones, and we'll see that the warning disappear. That top of parent, and because we set to occupy the entire parent, we don't need to provide where to start and where to end the text. But what we can see here is that all the text from here are aligned, starting with around, let's say, option, and I'm trying to okay, we have around 20 dps used for the margins. So in order to not specify for each element, we can say that, okay, layout margin will be app margin 20 dps. And as you can see, all the margin, top, left, right, and the bottom will be 20 dps. But in order to not duplicate this line of code, we can create different guidelines, and the name already said for what we'll use, guideline. Okay, the guideline will not have any dimension. We have the height will be match parent, because we want to have the match parent. Then we need to close to be a child, and the orientation should be vertical. Okay, and for displaying we'll see that is actually a guide for us. We'll say that the not percent start, how is called? I can remember the property, not padding is how is called the property? Margin? Not margin, I think, Mihaela. Aligned, I think, not aligned. We can wait a second to see if the margin, no, it's not the margin, is I think that we can set within percent, that, but actually I want to set up the distance between, how is called, I forgot. Let's try to because I already implemented, but I forgot the property. I think also yesterday I searched it on the internet. How is called, because we already, okay, guide and okay, and guide start. Sorry for that, I forgot. Guide start, begin, it was not start, it was begin, and will be our margin 20 dp. And as you can see now, we have a guideline set at 20 dp starting from our left margin. To do the same, yeah, we need also to provide an ID, a unique identifier, and we'll say container G from guideline, container 2, because we'll see that we need also the same guideline for the second container. Okay, the first guideline will need also a similar one to the end. Sorry, to copy and paste, but what will be changed will be the name for sure. Will be start, and this one will be end. We can have two similar IDs, and also here the end will be guide and will be the same. And you will see that now we have two guidelines, and we can constrain our text to our guidelines. And that means we don't need to provide for each element that is displayed on our screen the margins. So for each text, if I will not use guideline, we need to specify, okay, the text should start, should have margin start 20 dps and so on for each element, each text element. Okay, we have this text, and for doing that, we need to specify, we'll transform the match parent in 0 dp, and we'll provide some constraint. Start will be to the end of guideline start, because in order to not be at the start, but is the same thing if we'll provide start to start. But yeah, we'll have the same result. And the end to start of guideline container end. And now, as you can see, we have the first text constrained to the guidelines, and all the guidelines are constrained to our margin. And you'll see that if I will change my device, also the text is it's still constrained to our margins. Let's see that we have, I don't know, this device, and also you'll see that is a tablet. We will have the same text constraint to our margin. If I will not provide the end, let's see what's happened. And change the text. I think if I'll, okay, as you can see, now the text is not actually constrained and leave the screen. Even only on big devices will have the entire string, but if we'll use a small device, a user that uses a small device will not see the entire text for each. But if I will constrain back to the end, you'll see that the text will go to the next row and will have the entire text displayed. Okay, I will move further, but before, let's zoom back the design. I think should be a little bit more. Okay, to use. Okay, sorry for that. Nexus 5. Okay, now we need to provide the text size. Do you know how to provide it? Yeah, also, oh, I already showed. Is the text size, and will be around 20-25 dps, and as you can see now, it's pretty similar with our design. Okay, I'll do the same thing in order to not spend a lot of time for implementing from 0 each element. I will copy the first one because I really want to finish in time. We'll have another text. There are actually 4 texts, and 1, 2, 3, 4 exactly. And I'll skip a little bit I will skip some steps. I'll try to implement quickly, but it's the same thing as we did for the first one. Okay, so for the second one, we need to to provide an ID in order to constrain the second one to the first one, and we'll say that this is the title. Now we have the ID subtitle. Title. Okay, the third one will be the info one, and the last one will be info ID info 2. Okay, then we'll have the same constraints, so we don't need to provide any constraint start and end because we already constrained to the guidelines. What we need to change is the top constraint because we need to be immediately after the title, and we'll say that, okay, top will be the bottom of title, and now we have the second text. Now the third one will be top to bottom of subtitle, and we'll delete the first constraint, and now we have the third text. And for the last one, top to bottom of info 1. Okay, now we have all text in places. For sure, if you'll see that we don't have enough space for all the text, we can make this area scrollable. But for doing that, we need more let's say layouts. We need to implement a scroll view and so on, or different type of layouts. But we'll use here, we'll need to change, will not be title, will be subtitle. Implementing the design, will not have, we'll have let's say 20 SP for unit measure in for text, and also top margin will not be 20. I forgot to add the margin top here. Margin top will be around margin 20. Then here we'll have the same margin 20. Then the third text, let's continue with this one. It's actually a 12 the SP. We need to see which is the text. First info and second info, we have two. So yeah, I'm actually skipping that part because it's pretty similar with the first one. We'll not explain again for each text. Now we have section info and how it's called? No, second, first info and title section, second info. Text size will be the same, 12 SP, and we need to add some margins here. Margin top, margin 10 dps, and here also margin 10 dps. Okay, so it's pretty similar with what we implemented on the title, but what we change is the text size and also the margin top. We added for the first one 20 dps, for the second one 20 dps, because yeah, we don't have enough time to finish, and I really want to finish that. Okay, moving back, we see that we on the last text we have a different color. Could you help me? Can you guess the property that we'll use for changing the color? It's a simple property and intuitive. If you okay, it's text color. Okay, and will be green because we already defined a green color here. Okay, now we meet the requirements for the second parts. We will continue with the last part. We'll have pretty similar new text. We'll transform the third container in a parent and add a new checking the size. Seems that is pretty similar with implementing the design. And I will copy that text with implementing and edit on the second parent. I can okay, implementing the design, we have let's say game title, because let's assume that is a game title. Okay, we don't have any constraint, but we'll, as I said, we'll need to define for the second container, because we are not able to refer the guidelines or the, I'm not sure, will not work. My intention was to add outside on the first parent the guidelines to use for the entire screen, but then we need to define or to constrain each container to the guidelines, and all the text will be aligned with the guidelines, and we need only one set of guidelines. But we on the second on the last container we'll use the same. As you can see now, we have the second guidelines and we have the text aligned to the guidelines, but is for container number 3, and we need to change that. Great, and the title, I think I already added on the strings. This game, no, it's not this title. This one was for the session that we presented last year here with the Easter egg, and now we need to change it a little bit based on the new requirements, because Andrei said that we need to change the design, and we adapt it. And now the text is this one, crack the code. Then we need to refer again the text here is crack the code, or game title, I think. Okay. Right, we have the same margin, and top will be to the top of our first parent, top of parent, because we are now, the last container is now a parent, and we need to constrain the first text to the top of his parent. Okay, now we have the code, we have the first container done, the second container done, and now we need to implement the third container. We already implemented the title, and now let's see how we'll implement the input text. This is a component. It's actually, we have here two views, is a text input layout and the text edit text layout. We'll see that the text input layout is the parent, and we'll have the text edit as a child. But more easier will be to show you that. We have text, I think input layout is called. Yeah, we need to set the same constraint, 0dp wrap content. We'll constrain the same to be at the start of the guideline and end of the guideline. Sorry, because all the guidelines will help us to constrain in the container, and we, as I said, we don't need to provide margin start, margin end, margin top, margin bottom, and so on. Okay, then we need to specify the top constraint. We need to specify, and also will be the game title, the top to bottom of game title. And now we need to provide to create actually a child for this input. And for on our example, we have two options: either to implement a text, and we'll see only a text, or but it's a text input. We'll have a text edit text, input edit text, because we need to add some text on this one, and would be the wrap content. Sorry, the match parent. Okay, and the wrap content. And as you can see, now we have a box. It's not the same with what we have here, because we need to add the hint. Actually, this is a hint which will be displayed where inside the box at the beginning, and when the user will tap and insert text on the box, will be moved to the top here. And here I think is a helper text. I hope that I remember all the properties, but as I said, we are not memorize all the properties. If we are, we need or forget some properties, we will search on the Google and on the official documentation as I recommended. But I think is how it's called is for displaying the bottom text is helper text exactly, and helper text, this one. We don't have any helper text here, so we need to add it. String helper text, but because we don't have any resource here or any text, we need to copy the helper text from here. Okay, let's see if it works. Perfect. Okay, now we have also the helper text. It's almost done. We need to add the hint. Here will be game hint. We have game hint. Okay, now is the secret. Let's run the app to see that the behavior, because it will see that the secret will be moved to the top section when you start to type or to insert some text. Okay, as you can see, we have the secret now, and if you insert the text, now is move on the top. But we don't. What I can see here is that we don't have any margin top to our rectangle. So we will say that margin top will be around 10 dps. But for sure, before implementing something, you need to check the margin top for this section is 33 dps. But yeah, to not implement now a scrollable screen, I will choose 10 dps, because if you want to be responsive with your UI elements, because we have a lot of UI elements here, you need to implement a scroll layout in order to to scroll the screen. But for doing that, we need to change some aspects on our layout, and we don't have enough time for doing that right now. But we'll try at the end if we'll have time to also scroll the layout. Okay, now what was left is our button, but it's not done yet, because Andrei said here, create the layout for your Android application is all about paying attention to details. So it's a device from Andrei. So he already proposed that the secret should be hidden when you start insert some text in the input. So for doing that, I think we have a property, but let's remember the property. It's called input type. Okay, this one is, and we have different types of input type. What will happen if we'll add an input type? Well, let's assume that we'll add text password. Now all the text, so the text that is inserted on our text input edit text will be marked with stars, so we can see the text will have actually stars as in the design. But also the keyboard could be changed if you add different input types. If you will add number, you'll see that now I will be able to add only numbers. I'll have a numeric keyboard, and all the input will be number. If I will change to back to password, text password, you'll see that now the keyboard will contains also numbers, and also will be the classic keyboard actually, and you can insert text, but all this I think I missed something. Password, why is not changing? Should be okay, was changed, but as you can see now, all the input is converted to stars. It's actually a password input. Okay, now the last part is the button. Okay, let's start to implement also the button, because at the end, as I said at the beginning, without having the code, we can't use the app. So it's actually an image without the code. And I really want to also to implement the code part in order to see, or to see how to animate the image, the layout. Okay, let's implement quickly the button. I hope that you hear me well, because it seems that my headphones are not connected, or it's fine?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, wait seconds to disconnect, because I think the button. Can you hear me now?
Now we cannot hear you.
Now it's okay?
Yes, it's okay now.
Okay, perfect. I switched to laptop mic. Okay, let's add quickly the button. We'll use the same constraint because we have around 50 minutes to finish. Okay, no, the button is also part of, okay. We'll have 0 dp here. When you add 0 dp, the Android Studio will use the constraint in order to constrain your views. If I add some specific, we'll see that we have a fixed width. So using 0 dp, that means the constraint will be this two for the width part. And for sure, the content size will be the height. Okay, but on our design, since that is more bigger, we need to provide dimension, not margin. We can say that here create a new dimension in order to store it, because let's assume that in the future we'll have another button with a similar configuration, and in order to not duplicate, which is a good practice to not duplicate your code, you can add here the how it's called, the button size, and we'll say that that's 35 dps. It's enough for our button size. Oh, it's smaller. We need to add more, 50 dps. Okay, it's enough for this example. The text for the button will be I don't know. Okay, sorry, we have the submit button text. Game submit button, submit secrets, text size will be enough, 20 dps, that's fine. And what was left is the constraints. So we need to provide here as unique identifier as we did for all the views. And we'll say that this one is the text container. Okay, top will be to the bottom of our text container, and the margin top will be, let's say, margin 20 dps. Okay, and the background color, green. Okay, so that how to change. Okay, background tint is green. Okay, but I'll increase the size to meet the design requirements. It's 65, let's say. Okay, now we have also the button implemented. The button, okay, and as I said at the beginning, I suggest you to use button from material. Sorry, no. Button from material button. Okay, now it's fine. Let's run the app to see. Without the code, as I said, we have only an image. For sure, we can insert text, but without any input on the button and so on. Okay, as you can see, I'm pressing on the button without any result. I can insert text here, but don't have any result by pressing the button. And for linking the code with the design part, we'll use, as we expected, the IDs. So we need to refer all the views that are on our UI design using these IDs, these unique identifiers. And going back to our activity, for referring, I will search also on Google to see that everything is, if you know how to search, you can find anything on Google. How to refer view on Android. And as you can see, there are multiple ways to refer a view. The common used is find view by ID, but now in the Jetpack framework, there are multiple ways to referring views using libraries like binding and a lot of libraries that will help you to refer your view elements. But now we need, in order to implement the game, we need to refer first of all the text input, because let's assume that when submitting the secret, we'll display a small text here because we don't have enough time. We'll display a small text here when you guess the secret. So for doing that, we need to refer first of all the text input. And as I said, we'll define a new property in our class called text. Is a text, and we need to use find view by ID. We will be material no text view. It's actually a text input edit text. Text input edit text. Now, if you use the air class, you will see that we have air.id, and now we can search our view. I'm not sure, did you add the ID on the text? No, we need to add an ID here, text input. Okay, and now back to the code. If I will try to search text, we can refer why press music inflated with annotation. We have an error here, doesn't contain text input, but seems that I'm able to referring. If I'll press command or control on Windows, I can go to my text input edit text. I think I have the same why. If that layout main activity doesn't contain, let's try to run it. But we have the activity main. It seems that okay, was a ID problem with that bug. Now we need to refer the button, and in the same manner we'll see button is find view by ID, and we need to provide the type of view, which in our case is a material button, sorry. Okay, and we'll add how it's called in our activity. We don't have any but ID here. ID will be submit secret. And yeah, let's add the ID. Probably is the same thing as before. I'm expecting to be the same thing. And now, because we tried to launch an activity before, we need to define an event here on our button. So to define how to define an event, I know how to do that, but I'm trying to show that you can find anything that you want for implementing. How to define event for a button in Android. We have, as you can see, on click attribute, best practices for defining buttons, and here you can see a lot of ways to handling on button click. I think that is not the one that we'll use. We have this case with different methods. There are a lot of ways to define an event. And for now, we have the button set on click listener. That is an event. As I said, an event is a listener. And when you will press to the button, we'll want to pick the text from the text input layout and show it to the screen. Okay. For doing that, to not spend time, we'll use a simple display message. Application context. Text will be the text, the input. So we'll try to pick the text for our text input, edit text, and display on the screen. And for doing that, we need to text from get text, okay, to get the text, toast, plain long, and then show. And now if I run, you'll see that now we have an event linked to our button. So set on click listener. Before we linked our code with the UI elements, and now by pressing on the button, we'll display the text that is actually inside our text input. I run again the app, and if I will add, let's see. Yep, you see that the text is displayed. We can decide if we can create a logic here. If you insert the text and if you define a text, you can, let's say, create a game. Actually, it was a game, but because we don't have enough time, we can implement it right now. But let's assume that you'll define text here, variable text, and use secret. We'll define a secret called secret, let's say. And if the text, inserted text, if the text will be the inserted text. Okay. Sorry. Okay, that to string. Okay. Will be the text, then will display you did it. We can implement, or by your imagination you can change the game settings. If you find the text, then open a new screen, or if you is like a login. We can assume that this is a login screen, and if you insert the text, you'll be redirected to, I don't know, other screens or to the documentation. We can define multiple options here. You did it. Okay, let's run and see that if it works. I hope that to have also a crash, because to see how to solve also different problems. So if we'll not insert or else we'll see. So we have a if the text is the secret, else if the text is not the secret, let's say that will display error. And with that, we implemented also the game. But for sure, you can store the secret inside the strings and move the strings to a backend. And after changing you can change the secret each time. There are multiple ways to integrate. If we insert the secret, then you did it. If we insert another text, random text, error. And yeah, that's the game. And we are in time. Let's try also what Gabriel, I think, said. Let's see if we'll manage to to navigate. We'll call again the intent. So when pressing the button, Gabriela, are you here to see that? Okay, could be the main activity queue.
I think she left, but it's good for everybody to see this. So,
Okay, thank you, Mihaela.
no problem.
And let's see. So the same code that we decided open a new screen before. Yeah, we don't need to insert something. Oh, we have a crash. Why we have a crash? Unable to find the class. Okay, because that's, yeah, for sure, because we copy paste this one, we don't have an activity on the manifest file called activity2. True, okay, not will not be there, and I hope that will be enough and will not have a crash, because in order to define another screen, we can copy paste. We need to define that it's actually a screen, and for doing that, we need to add it here on the manifest file. Yeah, as you can see, but because it's the same screen, we have but let's try to modify a little bit this screen, and let's say here that is the screen number 2. And you'll see that by pressing on the submit button, you will be redirected to the second screen. There are a lot of ways and also to open. There are different architecture to define, to implement the navigation for sure. But what I recommend is to check every time the documentation. So here, you need to find everything that you will find everything that you want. Also, on the developer section, we have there are multiple courses for beginners. I also started from here. There are a lot of tutorials on the YouTube how to implement a specific feature. But what I recommend you to understand before implementing, because it's important to know what you are implementing. Because as I said at the beginning, we are not writing code for computers, we are writing code for humans, and you need, when you come back to your code, to understand what exactly was done, because you can find any bugs, or you need to change something, and you need to be able to change. But if you'll copy and paste directly to your code, the code base, it's hard to change or fix something if you are not understanding. I think that's all. We have 2 minutes over time. Sorry for that 2 minutes, but there are a lot of ways, and we are not developing in that manner. We are spending, let's say, maybe 1 day or 2 days for implementing a screen, depending on the complexity, depending on different factors. And right now, I tried as much as possible to share with you the best practices, because as I said at the beginning, the start is the most important part. Because if you start with, I don't know, without hard coding values, without having a base structure, for sure. But because you are at the beginning of the Android development phase, let's say, it's hard for you to understand the architecture patterns. There are multiple architecture patterns for using. So for a beginner, it's important to know and how to use the part with reusable code, how to start and close an activity. For example, if we want that that activity should be closed, we can call finish here and will not be able to return back to the first one because was closed. And there are multiple method. Okay. First Q&A session, sorry. Was a marathon for me. I hope that you enjoyed the session. I hope that you took the good part of this session and hope that you will implement your project and why not in the future to start a career in Android. Any questions? Do you want to implement something else? I'm here to show you something different. Nice. Drink some water, sorry. There are no question. We can close here. I hope that you enjoy the session. If you have any questions, you can raise to the Beatrice, and I think we can set also a meeting to discuss if you will choose the Android part as you want.
Yes, also we have a support group, and if there's any other questions, they can leave there, and we are gonna
perfect. We can answer on this that group.
Forward them. Yeah.
Perfect. That's interesting. Perfect. And also Mihaela will be part the final thing.
Yes. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys are going to develop.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice weekend, and hope to choose Android for your project. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.